Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Illustrating text 17, text 18, text 19 and text 20 of chapter 15, the Pandavas retire timely of first canto creation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 17. Sautye vrutaha kumati natmad ishvaro me yata pada pada mama bhavaya bhajanti bhavyaha mama shranta vaham rayo rathino भूविष्ठम न प्राहरन यदनुभाव निरस्त चित्ताह. It was by his mercy only that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. And it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage him as my chariot driver, for he is worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, is the object of worship both by impersonalists and by the devotees of the Lord. The impersonalists worship his glowing effulgence emanating from the transcendental body of eternal form, bliss and knowledge, and the devotees worship him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are below even the impersonalists consider him to be one of the great historical personalities. The Lord, however, descends to attract all by his specific transcendental pastimes, and thus he plays the part of the most perfect master, friend, son and lover. His transcendental relation with Arjun was in friendship, and the Lord therefore played the part perfectly as he did with his parents, lovers and wives. While playing in such a perfect transcendental relation, the devotee forgets by the internal potency of the Lord that his friend or son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although sometimes the devotee is bewildered by the acts of the Lord. After the departure of the Lord, Arjun was conscious of his great friend, but there was no mistake on the part of Arjun, nor any ill estimation of the Lord. Intelligent men are attracted by the transcendental acting of the Lord with a pure, unalloyed devotee like Arjun. In the war field, scarcity of water is a well-known fact. Water is very rare there, and both the animals and men working strenuous on the war field constantly require water to quench their thirst. Especially wounded soldiers and generals feel very thirsty at the time of death, and it sometimes so happens that simply for want of water, one has to die unavoidably. But such scarcity of water was solved in the battle of Kurukshetra by means of boring the ground. By God's grace, water can be easily obtained from any place if there is facility for boring the ground. The modern system works on the same principle of boring the ground, but modern engineers are still unable to dig immediately wherever necessary. It appears, however, from the history as far back as the days of the Pandavas that big generals like Arjun could at once supply water even to the horses, and what to speak of men by drawing water from underneath the hard ground simply by penetrating the stratum with a sharp arrow, a method still unknown to the modern scientists. Text 18. Narman Yudar Ruchir Smita Shobhitani हे पार्थ हे अर्जुन सखे कुरु नंदनेति समजल पितानि नरदेव हृदि स्पृशानि स्मरतुर लुठन्ति हृदयं मम माधवस्य. O king, his jokings and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. His addresses unto me as O son of Prutha, O friend, the son of the Kuru dynasty, and all such heartiness are now remembered by me, and thus I am overwhelmed. Text 19. Shayya Sanatan Vikata Thana Bhojanadisha Vaikyada Vayasya Vrutava Niti Vipralabdhaha Sakhyuha Sakheva Pitruvata Tanayasya Sarvam Sehe Mahana Mahitaya Kumate Ragham Me. Generally, both of us used to live together and sleep, sit and loiter together. And at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes, if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, "My friend, you are very truthful." Even in those hours when his value was minimized, he, being the Supreme Soul, used to tolerate all those utterings of mine, excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend or a father excuses his son. Since the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is all perfect, his transcendental pastimes with his pure devotees never lack anything in any respect, either as a friend, son or lover. The Lord relishes the reproaches of friends, parents or fiancés more than the Vedic hymns offered to him by great learned scholars and religionists in an official fashion. Text 20. So aham nrupendra rahitah purushottamen sakhya priyena suruda hrudayena shunyah advayurukrama parigraha mangala rakshana gopairasada bhirabaleva vinirjito asmi. O Emperor, now I am separated from my friend and dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel cowherd men, and while I was guarding the bodies of all the wives of Lord Krishna. The most important point in this verse is how it was possible that Arjun could be defeated by a gang of ignoble cowherd men, and how such mundane cowherd men could touch the bodies of the wives of Lord Krishna who were under the protection of Arjun. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has justified the contradiction by research in the Vishnu Puran and Brahma Puran. In these Puranas it is said that once the fair denizens of heaven pleased Ashtavakra Muni by their service and were blessed by the Muni to have the Supreme Lord as their husband. Ashtavakra Muni was curved in 8 joints of his body, and thus he used to move in a peculiar curved manner. The daughters of the demigods could not check their laughter upon seeing the movements of the Muni, and the Muni, being angry at them, cursed them that they would be kidnapped by rogues even if they would get the Lord as their husband. Later on, the girls again satisfied the Muni by their prayers, and the Muni blessed them that they would regain their husband even after being robbed by the rogues. So in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives from the protection of Arjun, otherwise they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the rogues. Besides that, some of the gopis who prayed to become wives of the Lord returned to their respective positions after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord Krishna, he wanted all his entourage back to Godhead, and they were called back under different conditions only. Hare Krishna.